Welcome to Aarhus, the location for our 5th in-port race in this, the 14th edition of the Ocean Race. There's a big question as to what would be the conditions for racing today, but the breeze is building. In fact, we might be seeing the peak of the sea breeze at the moment. So with racing about to get underway shortly, we look set for some pretty good breeze to power our boats around the course. And joining me for the racing today is previous Ocean Race skipper and legendary round the world sailor, Dee Kafari. Dee, good conditions, if a little bit light, for our IMOCAs today.
Well, much better than we saw this morning. We've actually watched the wind rotate throughout the morning. This sea breeze has filled in. It's slightly more pressure than we saw earlier. So I think we're going to have some good racing, if, as you say, not quite the spectacle that we've seen in previous venues.
Dee, can you talk us through this inshore course, what we're going to be seeing our IMOCAs racing around today?
Well, it's going to be familiar to a lot of our viewers that have been following this race. It's got the 4 corners in. We're going to do multiple laps depending on the pressure of the breeze. But we're going to have that reaching start, so we'll get peak speeds. We've also got these corners to turn, and it's tactical when you drive, and then as you come along the other reach, then when you tack to come back round for the second lap. We're looking at the moment to do 3 laps, but this may of course change. Now the breeze should be building throughout the afternoon, but it's that reaching leg that's going to be super fast as they come into that finish on that final corner.
We have got Hugo Lepemic, a coach with Team Militia, out on the water. Let's go to Hugo now and get the latest on the conditions.
It's quite chilly, but at least it means we have some wind. It was the big question this morning during the Militia team briefing. Are we going to drift around in front of Aarhus, or are we going to sail and showcase how amazing those boats are? And it's good to see that the boats are moving, and I can even see some clouds above the shoreline.
It's 11th Hour Racing Team now with the bow down, trying to accelerate. And Team Militia looked like that late charge was not the right way. They are not going to find a way into this line. Team Holcim PRB, bow down again. They're too close to the line. And we get to that final tick, and the gun fires. Bioterm with a strong start down to leeward, but only just with their bow clears. 11th Hour Racing Team, good speed off the middle, and Team Holcim PRB with the risk of getting wedged between the two here. I mean, Dee, all the action there at the leeward end.
It was really interesting. I actually thought 11th Hour Racing were going to absolutely nail that start, but that big dip by Holcim almost acted like a magnet and pulled Charlie down, doubting his time on distance there. But don't forget, 11th Hour up to windward, so they've got good pressure, and now they just need the acceleration.
On board now with Bioterm, Paul Mayer as the skipper.
He's good at these starts. We've seen him do it before. And actually, my heart goes out to Bioterm. They literally arrived last night, and here they are performing.
On board now with Team Holcim PRB, and it's Johan Richaume, the Frenchman, helming this boat. Benjamin Schwartz is the skipper, the new skipper, but Johan Richaume, with everything that he's done in the Solitaire de Figaro and the IMOCA world as well, it's a very powerful weapon on the helm. And it's going to be 3 laps today, and right now between first and second it's only 2, maybe 3 whole lengths between the leaders and second place. Bioterm right now, Paul Mayer, they needed a good performance to, I think, reward their energy to get themselves here in Aarhus, as you were saying, Dee, only last night. If they can sail well here, it's not so much about lifting the trophy anymore for that French team, but it is a lot more about their own pride. For 11th Hour Racing Team, though, as we go on board with Charlie Enright, this is the battle for lifting the trophy. They're now trying to come down lower. They're really pushing that boat low, trying to get on the inside of 11th Hour Racing Team, off to the right-hand side of shot. And the early jibe here for Team Militia, earlier it seems than 11th Hour Racing Team, might rotate those 2 boats and put the German boat on the Americans' boat's breeze. So perhaps positioning and depth coming to the aid here of Boris Herrmann and Team Militia, as out in front and rounding the next mark, closing off that short downwind section. It is Bioterm still in the lead and still holding those 2.5 boat length lead between them and Team Holcim PRB.
Bioterm now have to try and work at staying ahead, and everyone else is trying to find their way to claw back at them.
Well, this is going to be the crucial moment now, because Team Militia are coming into this mark. To their right-hand side is 11th Hour Racing Team, but they are further back. They have lost a few boat lengths there. It was the depth that had put this German team in, but as you can see now, that depth is also causing Team Militia to sail slow. And 11th Hour Racing Team sailing more distance, a wider course, but they've got the speed. So I think your boat's going to stay in the lead here, stay in third place, Mark.
Unfortunately, it hasn't worked for him, but maybe it will in the future.
I mean, they're only one puff away from making that happen. I mean, they've definitely given your boat pause for thought on the next downwind. Boris Herrmann wasn't able to slip past, so they remain in fourth place, but they have shown that you need to be on guard if you want to keep Boris Herrmann and his crew behind you. Johan Richomme working the rest of the crew inside on Team Holcim PRB pretty hard there. Look at this. This is the boat that arrived during the night yesterday, and they're looking great out in the water now. The lead that we're seeing at the moment for the Frenchman and his crew is absolutely well deserved right now. And as they come to the next turning Mark 3 of that first lap, there's that left-hand turn, and it looks set to be a true beat between Mark 3 and Mark 4. So a wind in of that big Code Zero, that masthead sail, before we'll see them tack up. And the speed's slow here, Mark. This is where we get that compression, and suddenly those boats behind feel very close.
Yeah, we've seen this in previous import races, obviously a compression as they start to turn upwind. And the other thing that we should watch is the difference in tacking styles. We've seen that as well. Some of the teams going for the full furl tack, winding the sail entirely up, and others going for the blow-through method. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Team Holcim PRB getting a tack in, but they are tacking well below the line of Bioterm at the moment. It was interesting seeing those two teams sailing up from Mark 3. It looked like Team Holcim PRB was holding a much lower line. Perhaps a little bit of a shift there for the Swiss boat, and Bioterm right now, they look a lot freer. Maybe they have tack late.
Yeah, I'd say that was extended there because Holcim had such a slow tack. Really noticed, and you'll see on the buoys that they're going around, they've got a little red buoy trailing. That's an indication of a little bit of current that's there on the water that they need to consider when they're rounding these marks, so they don't hook them up on their foils. And
behind, Team Holcim PRB have only just rounded Mark 4, so I would say that's firmly a gain in terms of distance and time for Bioterm at the moment. Abi Ila. Well, you cannot, at the moment, discard the tenacity of the German team. Team Militia is trying everything, as you were saying, Mark, on the sides of this course. That's where the opportunities to overtake, and they have gone for it, but they have gone yet again for very different approaches that Mark, and it's suffered with their speed. So, 11th Hour Racing Team, round the top, still in third place, but the Germans are trying everything. Team Militia now rounding the fourth boat, and about to come through for the start-finish line, closing off that first lap. They're still in fourth place, but all they need here is one shift, one twist in the breeze. And right now, the two boats that are really pushing for that top spot is Team Holcim PRB and 11th Hour Racing Team. There is 1 point separating those two teams, and as we're on board here with the Swiss boat and Abi Ila calling in the breeze and calling in any course corrections, this was the boat that was leading for the majority of this edition of the race. And this is probably going to be the most crucial part when it really does matter in any of the laps. This downwind section, this is where we can see the boats having opportunities to, as Team Militia did, sail a little bit lower, a little bit slower maybe, but try and find a tactical advantage in terms of positioning. And there we can see the view of the helm, Boris Herrmann for Team Militia. The rounding mark just coming into view on the left-hand side, that big white square. We've got Team Holcim PRB through their jibe and redeploying their Code Zero. And the question will be for Team Militia, do they try and do what we saw them do the first time we were at this stage of the course? Could they go low? And I think I almost just heard Boris Herrmann there talking about that jibe. When are they going to get that jibe in?
You can ease the rudder. Yeah, get ready with the sheet.
Well, unfortunately for Team Militia, it doesn't look like they're going to have the opportunity to jibe again and get on top of 11th Hour Racing Team, but they are certainly trying anything that is not just simply following the boat in front. Hugo, you're down on the water there. I mean, you were saying your team was trying very hard.
Yes, correct. And I was actually looking at Holcim PRB doing the jibe, and I think they are a bit struggling with maneuvers. Before we started the live earlier, I saw them missing a tack, which I guess during a racing could make them lose like a couple of boat lengths. So if I were 11th Hour, I would keep pushing, because we have to remember that those boats, for most of them, they've been sailing so many miles together that maneuvers is like they don't even need to talk to each other. It's like a choreography. But for the PRB, it's a new team, new crew, and they still need to learn a bit about how the boat is.
Bioterm right now in first place is stretching ahead. This is the halfway point of the import race. It's set to be 3 laps, and we are about halfway through the second one. And just look at that lead there, Dee. I mean, for Paul Meyer, we'll say it again, for him, this is more than just, oh, we sailed well today. This is, I mean, it's vindication, isn't it? It's confidence building. And watching here, Team Holcim PRB doing attack, and Mark, that looks a little bit slow to me.
Yeah, a little bit slow. They're obviously got a fair bit of work to do getting that sheet in, but most importantly, the bow is pointed the right direction. I'm sure the crew will be working hard to get that sail trimmed on. Lots of action here. You're seeing Charlie move the tiller, trying to get the bow through the wind. It looks like we've successfully been able to do that, and the sail's nice and eased, and we are going. And here's Malizia attacking inside once again, having a go. It'll be interesting to see how this plans out as far as the ley line's concerned.
I mean, it looked to me like Team Malizia having a little bit of problems there with that code 0.
They've had a shocking tack. I mean, that when the pressure's on and they need to perform, they've clearly got an issue, a tangle there. And trouble is, trying to undo that under pressure is really hard. And now they've got the big grind.
That little bit where you're grinding your teeth, waiting for the speed to come back. But trust the numbers, trust what you've done before. You know, your instincts are right, or certainly they have been right for Paul Meyer and the crew here on Bioterm.
Until you've crossed that finish line, literally anything can happen. We can have disaster strike in all forms. You know, let's face it, just a few days ago they'd broken a shroud that could have lost them their wrist. The fact that it's still upright and they're still racing is incredible, and you know, kind of credit to the team.
Right now, as you can see, the head of Benjamin Schwartz just poking out to leeward of Team Holcim PRB. There is a tight battle here for second and third. And 11th Hour Racing Team have closed right up to the Swiss team here. So this bear away, keeping the speed, keeping the momentum on this dangerous downwind leg where you are really exposed to the boat behind. This is crucial now for Team Holcim PRB. And Mark, there you can see just how close it is here. Team Holcim PRB trying to come up a little bit. It almost looks like they're trying to build a little bit of speed for the turn. 11th Hour Racing Team now doing the same. But if 11th Hour Racing Team can hold that position, as we are seeing on the virtual tracker, just to leeward on the inside of the Swiss boat, the jibe will go in their favour. It's going to come down to this turn here. There's nothing between these two boats in terms of speed. Yeah, Team Holcim PRB, they're going for the jibe now. It's going to be jibe for jibe here. And the question is 11th Hour Racing Team going to jibe too early? And I think that they think the jibe would be. They are holding on here. They are keep going. They have been able to delay that turn as much as possible here. And this is going to be a crucial moment. And it's good to see that code 0 coming round the J2 forestay now and coming round onto the other side, because as you say, for a moment there that looked like a little bit of an ad hoc maneuver. Now it's going to be a question about ley line into the mark, and 11th Hour Racing Team now rounding, and I would say, Mark, that your team have full credit for going for it, but again, that was the risk, and they've lost a little bit of ground.
Yeah, we definitely lost some distance there, I think.
Well, at the moment we have got Bioterm a long way out, and Paul Meyer is certainly enjoying the moment.
How are you feeling today, and yeah, what's your plan for today, your tactics, everything?
Actually, we are feeling really good. I have a mark in front of the boat. Don't do like in Captain. Happy to take a bit of risk and to try to be in front of the other one.
Happy with his performance and the conditions, and it's just, I'm out for a lovely sail, and it's just really lovely.
Now it's Johan Richomme helming Team Holcim PRB as they come round that mark, but this is Bioterm at the other end of that short upwind leg, and Bioterm now bearing away, this time a very wide mark rounding, as you're saying, Mark, very wide, keeping things very safe and very controlled. You could argue this win, this victory, it's something bigger than that.
Oh, definitely, and it's not only for the sailing team, but actually the shore team, where the work starts for them, but for their sponsors, for their partners that are continuing to support them.
Team Holcim PRB are just about crossing the line now for a second place there. There they can go through the line here, and while they didn't manage to close down the distance of Bioterm ahead, that's a strong performance, because they were certainly under pressure from 11th Hour Racing Team behind here. He's just been down there grinding pretty hard.